Good morning. My name is Ruben Benzel, and my pronouns are he and him. And I am a member of your search committee, ministerial search committee. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you, and we invite everyone in the sanctuary today to join us for our in-person coffee hour immediately following the service. That's one of the greatest perks of UUI, coffee afterwards. During our service, there is a time for sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another. Cards for sharing your joy or sorrow are on the table by the entrance to the sanctuary, and we ask that you pick them up and fill them out prior to the section of our service. Exuberance for life and learning is one of our core values. We are a positive, optimistic, and intellectually curious group of truth seekers who believe that life should be celebrated, that humans are widely worthy of happiness on earth, and that art, music, and science serve religious truth as the highest expressions of the human mind and spirit. Because of this, we provide spiritual and religious opportunities as we reflect on the moral dilemmas presented by the issues of the day, and we value spiritual practice in daily life.
Good morning. My name is Maria Renner, and my pronouns are she and her, and I'm honored to be the worship associate for our congregation today. A lit chalice is a symbol of our faith as Unitarian Universalists, a beacon that calls us back to ourselves and forward into the work of love and liberation. Today we are inviting our guest speaker, Richard Brendan, to light our chalice. As we light our chalice in the sanctuary, I invite those on Zoom to light a chalice or a candle and type your location into the chat. Our chalice lighting and opening words today are by Abraham Maslow. After Abraham Maslow suffered a near-fatal heart attack, he wrote in a letter, "The confrontation with death and the reprieve from it makes everything look so precious, so sacred, so beautiful, that I feel more strongly than ever the impulse to live it, to embrace it, and to let myself be overwhelmed by it. My river has never looked so beautiful. Death and its ever-present possibility makes love, passionate love, more possible. So we come together to worship, aware of life's fragility and moved by its beauty. In the shadow of death, we turn toward love, wonder, and the sacredness of this moment, ready to be overwhelmed by the gift of being alive."
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us, He has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from free to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Would you please now join me in saying our covenant, which is printed on the screen as well as in your bulletin. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And now we're going to say our covenant in Spanish. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Please be seated.
Our congregation is a very lively community with many, many opportunities to participate. Here are a few announcements for today, but please check your order of service for more. The caring team is in need of members for the Joys and Sorrows team and the meal team. Contact Dawn for more information.
Hi, I'm John Cornell, pronouns he, him. The Thursday afternoon daytime Chalice Circle is sponsoring a UUI diaper drive. This will be the next 2 Sundays, so Mother's Day and the week after that, you can bring diapers in. This will support the Marion County Health Department, which is now getting requests for about 600 diaper packages a month. Right, the number's gone up. We will collect all sizes at the service next Sunday and the one after that, but the greatest unmet need is for diapers sizes 3, 4, and 5. Thank you.
Our next all-ages movie night is Friday, May 9th at 6:30. We will be watching The Secret Life of Arrietty. Popcorn and drinks are provided. The middle school D&D group also begins at 6:30, and new party members are welcome. Now let us enter into the time in the service where we share the joys and sorrows of our lives with one another so that they may be held in community. As the music plays, I invite people in the sanctuary to come up and drop a stone into the bowl if something is on your heart today. Please use both sides of the table. If you have written your joy or sorrow on a card, please leave it in the basket at the table and it will be read aloud. Please note that the cards are by the entrance of the sanctuary for easy pickup when you come in. For those of you on Zoom, we invite you to use the chat feature. Please put in all caps either joy or sorrow, plus your name and pronouns at the beginning of what you are sharing, if you would like me to read it out loud in the sanctuary. You can also symbolically drop a stone into the bowl by typing drop stone or just DS into the chat. Come, let us share our joys and sorrows. These are the joys and sorrows for today. Sandra Gruber led a 30-person drum circle at 10 p.m. last night during a Beltane ball. Everyone loved it. Catherine shares that she loves butterflies, and she is one today. Susan shares that next Saturday, their daughter, MJ, will graduate from college. They're thankful to have lots of loving family coming to celebrate. Molly Ann shares that today is the anniversary of their dog passing. Lily shares that their foster kittens have started wandering around and they are absolutely adorable. Breyer shares the relentless attacks on trans lives continue with the new government report attempting to delegitimize our youth and gender-affirming care. This report is not based in reputable science, medicine, or psychology, and it would be laughable if not for the great harm this will cause. There's a sorrow from Jen. She learned that her chosen sister's birthday on April 24th, that she took her life in May of last year. It was on the day that she had to have her beloved elderly pup companion, Amor, euthanized due to illness. She is heartbroken and devastated to have lost her sister. She was her best friend and only 36 years old. She also shares that she's going to receive an incomplete in her math class. She's not as stressed about that anymore, but has to finish both a major project for her programming class and a big essay for her research program before May 11th. She's worried she won't be able to do that. Though they may not be shared today, we know that there are many more joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts and on our minds. Let us pause now for a moment of prayer and meditation. Just invite you to take a few deep breaths. Blessed be. Amen.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots holding close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me. Come to me.
Good morning. I had to wear my rain boots today, you guys, because it's just wet out there. But it's good for our gardens, right? Those of us who have gardens. So now is the time when anyone of any age who wishes to is welcome to join me at the front of the congregation, because I have a story to share with you. And this one is called A Gift of Feathers. I think it's pretty cool. And we'll see if we can, yeah, there we go. Awesome. Follow along with slides. Yes, even butterflies are welcome to be at the front during church. Yes, because we're all part of the interdependent web of life. So, here's how this story goes. Grandma Dot kept a small vase filled with feathers on a table by the front door. Most of Grandma Dot's feathers were gray, but 2 were as snowy white as her hair, and all were small in size, like Grandma Dot. She didn't have to bend down too much to snuggle and kiss my little sister and me and say, "Rhea and Tallulah, so delicious." I looked forward to visiting Grandma Dot every summer, but not to the boring 2-day drive to the city. Where do birds live in this city, I wondered, and where do all the feathers come from? At home, our yard had a coop with egg-laying chickens that Rhea and I named. We had just buried my favorite, Estelle, the summer that a second vase of feathers appeared in Grandma Dot's living room. A second vase. Sitting on the couch with Grandma Dot between us, Rhea and I each held a vase of feathers on our laps. Every time I find a feather, I think about my parents watching over me, Grandma Dot said. On our next visit, 3 vases filled with feathers decorated the living room, and another rested on the dining room table. I've been thinking about my parents a lot since your last visit, Grandma Dot said, and my friends and neighbors now give me the feathers they find. Because it was too late in the evening to play outside, and probably to keep us busy, Grandma Dot allowed us to put all the vases on the floor of the living room. She said we could arrange the flowers however we wanted. "Since when is it okay to play in the living room?" Dad asked. "Tallulah and Rhea know how to be neat," said Grandma Dot. "Don't you girls?" Dad looked surprised, because sometimes the rules for grandkids are different than the rules were for kids, and sometimes we get a little sassy about it. But Rhea and I nodded our agreement quickly and dumped all the feathers out of the vases. The living room looked as if feathers had burst from a pillow fight of colliding clouds. Rhea tossed the feathers in the air, and we watched them float to the floor. "Rhea," Mom yelled. As usual, a first warning did not stop Rhea. But Grandma Dot said, "Why don't you count the feathers? And let's put them in order of size," I suggested, starting with the longest. As Rhea and I began making rows of feathers, Mom and Dad stood over us, shouting instructions. "Use that one, the light gray," Dad said. "No, it's too short," Mom argued. "Put the silver one next." And then Sarah failed to turn the page. There we go. Eventually, a square of feathers covered the floor like a carpet, and I held up the smallest feather for everyone to see. It was thin, black at the tip, with delicate gray veins that faded to white at the bottom of the quill. Placing the beautiful last feather on the floor, I announced 99. "Like me," said Grandma Dot. "Next year, you'll visit for my 100th birthday party." But our next visit wasn't for Grandma Dot's birthday party. It was for her funeral. I wanted to ride to the cemetery in the limousine with Dad, but Rhea and I were in a regular car with Mom when Rhea asked, "Where's Grandma Dot now?" The question annoyed me because I was trying not to think too much. "She's in that black van in front of us," I said. "Then she's going to be in the ground like Estelle." "I know she's going to be in the ground," Rhea persisted, "but where is Grandma Dot really going to be?" Although I didn't see anything funny about Rhea's question, Mom smiled. Tapping Rhea gently on the forehead and then over the heart, she said, "Grandma Dot will always be with you." Mom usually knows what to say or do. I was glad she made us put on extra layers because I don't remember ever being so cold as when I stood at Grandma Dot's grave while the rabbi said some prayers in Hebrew that I didn't understand. While Dad and others shoveled dirt into the grave, I listened to the drumbeat of showering pebbles and tried to picture Grandma Dot how I saw her last, in a purple sweater, her beads and bangles jangling as she squeezed me tight. So delicious. I wasn't aware that the drumming had ended until a flight of geese squawked across the silvery sky. As soon as we got home, Rhea and I opened up the chicken coop and let our chickens out to walk around the yard. I held Brownie, my new favorite, against me and felt her little heart flutter. But then she leaped from my arms and landed next to two slender white feathers. Our yard is often full of feathers, but Rhea and I argued over who saw these feathers first until a light breeze separated the feathers and we each took one. Rhea sometimes wears her white feather in her hair. I keep mine in a vase on the table next to the bed. Except for one day every year when Mom watches Dad light a special candle and whisper a prayer. Holding our feathers side by side, Rhea and I think about Grandma Dot as our feathers glow in the reflected light. If you would like to look at this story during coffee hour, I'm going to leave it right up here on my stool. And let us all sing our way out to religious exploration together. You ready? May your mind be open
May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
I'm very happy to welcome back Richard Brendan as our speaker today. Richard is an inspirational speaker, a coach, and ordained minister who motivates people to live with purpose, passion, and authenticity. With a background as a hospice chaplain, life purpose coach, and counselor, he emphasizes the importance of embracing life's limited time to lead meaningful lives. His teachings focus on the transformative power of love, encouraging individuals to refine their life purpose and build deeper connections. Richard is also a mentor, producer, and a life member of the Dead Poets Society. His work combines personal growth, spiritual wisdom, and a passion for inspiring others. Let's welcome Richard.
How can you not love butterflies? I love that. It's been a while since I've been here. I've spoken here numerous times in the past. Actually, when I had my nonprofit, Journeys Fire International, we rented this sacred space at least half a dozen times. We had, I know Julie Butterfly Hill was here, and Sean Korn, Ocean Robbins, son of John Robbins. My friend Philip Gully brought him here. He had another book come out, a renegade book that always gets him in trouble as a Quaker pastor, and numerous others. And I recognize a lot of faces that are still here. And it always feels like home here. I just love the vibe of the grounds and of this sacred facility. So for that, it's an extra thrill to be here. The opening words that Maria shared, one of my favorite stories and quotes was that of Abraham Maslow. I just wanted to share a few others. And but let me say this. First of all, my pronouns he, him, but also I was born a Hoosier, but I'm a Boilermaker by the grace of God. I just wanted you to all know that. So, all right. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I am too. So, I have learned so much. I just retired from 21 years of being a hospice chaplain. I'd also been a pastor, of course, had the nonprofit for 6 years. But now I'm doing just a lot of teaching and going back to some mentoring and such. But it was interesting because during that time, you know, I had a lot of guests on the radio show I had over 20 years on WICR called Bringing Love to Life with Richard Brendan, and read a lot of books. I am a former bookaholic, so always trying to seek the answers. And then I realized the answers were right before me, all these beautiful souls who were dying. And they taught me so much about living fully and about loving deeply. And I'll share just a few stories here and some insights. But a couple more quotes I wanted to share. One from astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. He says, "It is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment, the need to express love, not now, not later." And then Michael Singer, who wrote The Untethered Soul, which was a bestseller many years ago, he wrote this: "It is truly a great cosmic paradox that one of the best teachers in all life turns out to be death. No person or situation could ever teach you as much as death has to teach you. Learn to live as though you are facing death at all times, and you'll become bolder and more open. If you live life fully, you won't have any last wishes." And so I've come to see, and I've shared this insight before, and I put it this way: love calls you to make death your constant companion, because the awareness of death helps you heal old wounds, refines your purpose in life, and helps you lead a fearless and authentic life. Because if you know you're going to die, you show up big. I mean, yeah, Dead Poet Society is one of my favorite films, but if there was a membership, I am a life member of that, Carpe Diem. I'm such a slow learner, I had to have my latest ink on my arm right here, and it says Memento Mori et Carpe Diem. Remember you will die, so seize the day. And I've learned that as I've practiced death awareness, some of that I got from my Buddhist brothers and sisters down in Bloomington, and other insights I've gained. And Memento Mori is actually becoming a movement, worldwide movement. If you were to Google that or death awareness, it's everywhere. I brought my friend with me, the skull on the table. I call him Mori, death. He doesn't talk back to me. He's always pleasant. And he's always fully present, too. And so I've got many more like him at home, including a cane with the skull. It's kind of a little thing I have going. If I see something interesting, and my friend Purple Sue Wagman, if she sees anything from Bali with a skull on it, she gifts it to me. So I've got a little bit of collection going on at home. But I ran across this one quote I wanted to share, and I just think it's beautiful. And it's anonymous, but I tried to find the author of it. And this is it, but dig this. We enter life with an inhale. We exit life with an exhale. And in between, we live for those moments that take our breath away. Now, I've got 6 grandkids. A lot of them are young. I was with a bunch of them yesterday. Had to go home and take a nap. But they taught me more about that little boy in me needing to come out and play. And some of the ones that I was with, that I had a chance of companion with as their chaplain, taught me more about that as well. Even as they knew they were dying, they would look into me as if they were looking in my heart and soul and say, "Richard, really appreciate everything you're doing here, but one of my regrets, I didn't play more." You know? And so I learned a lot from these people, from these beautiful people. And something else, I post a lot on Facebook page. Some of these stories have been on Facebook. This is something I posted. While learning the art of living in the light of death, I've come to know that the ultimate expression of love is to take somebody deeply into your heart, to offer the precious gift of being heard and seen without being judged, because only love is safe enough to come out to. So the dying taught me to just be present, that Richard is always at his best when he keeps his mouth shut and just holds him in my consciousness. We don't do that enough for one another, do we? My animals teach me that. And I've learned that's the greatest gift I could give my patients as well as my friends. To turn the phone off, not look at the watch, and just say, I'm here. I'm with you. And that's what they taught me, and it was so beautiful. And it softened my heart, and it took the pressure off of everything. So here's something I wanted to share, and this happened quite a few years ago, but I'll remember it like it was yesterday. It was at Rose Gate, one of the facilities I used to go to. A week ago this morning, upon being notified of the death of a hospice patient, I was asked to share the news to the patient's 89-year-old boyfriend. Now, see, I just think that's cool right there. They were 89. They had a love affair going on in the Rose Gate facility, and someone had to tell him she passed away. So, sitting across from him, his hand in mine, the tears were flowing down his face. He wasn't completely surprised by the news, but it still, quote, hurt his heart. He then looked up at me and shared that his dog had just passed a few weeks earlier. When I walked in the room, I noticed there was a crate there and it was empty. His dog had just died a few weeks earlier. And he asked me if it was okay to cry for his dog as well. And as he held my hand tighter and now tears were flowing down my face, I responded, absolutely. And I'll cry with you. And in that moment, no other words were needed. One of my favorite writers, Andre Nouwen, wrote, be present to each other. Be present to each other and experience in the depths the gift of life. To care means being where the suffering is. It's a way of living together so that the mystery of life is revealed. And you know, there's so much research going on in death awareness. It's been proven now that it can actually even produce more peacemaking in communities as well. And I'll just share this brief insight, not part of my notes. But I will say this, as a guy who's now been downtown numerous times protesting myself with my god-awful looking signs and things like that, that I have been into homes that would have, let's say, a photo of Barack and Michelle Obama, and I would be there with their week in, week out with their loved one, and politics was never brought up. I remember going into a home, and they had a Donald Trump and Melania photo of their autograph, supposedly. And politics was never brought up, and it wasn't brought up because their loved one was dying. You know, we have so much more in common than we do in differences. We are all born, we all will die. And I think sometimes when we focus on those simple little things, it opens up our hearts just a little more about what's most important in life, even in peacemaking. And I just found that to be interesting. And the Ram Dass quote's one of my all-time favorites, that we're all just walking each other home. I love that. We are all just walking each other home. And death has also taught me that this moment we have right now together in this sacred facility, this is a precious moment because I don't know if I'm going to have the rest of the day. One of the things I learned from Wayne Muller, another great author of mine, friend also, he used to say before he'd leave the house, he would say, I could die today. And I still do that, only I do this with my hands, like my hands are off of life. I could die today, and I do it playfully. Because when you have death awareness, you're not afraid of death anymore. One of my missions is to take death out of the closet. Mediumship is out of the closet, but there are still people who are scared to death of death. That's why I love death cafes. I just hosted another death cafe months ago at Joy's house. I'm connected with them with their Indiana End of Alliance. And we did a death cafe. I remember it was a wintry night. Snow was coming down. It was a weeknight. We thought, hey, if we get 6, that'll be great. We had 30 people show up Because how many people in here have been part of a death cafe? Raise your hand. All right, not that many. It's a wonderful opportunity with cards and questions around tables, and you always have a cake made out of a skull. That's part of it too. It's a worldwide movement that was born out of France. But by these questions and it's interacting, it starts demystifying death. You start slowly beginning to make death your friend because death was with you the moment you were born. I see that now. Life and death are part of the same coin. And yet we're often so fearful of it. But it helps me show up big in that moment. Like even watching those kids play over there was a highlight for me. Because kids remind us so much about what's most important. Joy and being goofy as well. Here's another story. Earlier today, I had the honor of officiating the funeral of an 87-year-old woman who made her transition on October 27th. For almost a year, I would visit with her, often holding her hand and reading poetry to her. And when I would sing to her, she would laugh and try to sing along with me. My attempt at the Sinatra song, Fly Me to the Moon, was her favorite. She was unable to speak, but her smile and her eyes said everything. She's flying now, and perhaps she's dancing with Sinatra. The following words from John O'Donohue really touched my heart. John wrote, "We should not allow ourselves to settle for being awkward and unsure around a deathbed. There is vital and beautiful work to be done there. When you realize that the dying person needs and depends on your words and presence, it takes the focus off your limitation and frees you to become a creative companion on that new journey. One of the most beautiful gifts you could ever give is the gift of helping someone to die with dignity, graciousness, and serenity." And then another story. And then I'll close with a story. And this happened. A dear friend of mine came into my life many years ago now, 2015, I think. You ever feel like time goes by so fast? Yeah, maybe it's a sign that I'm getting older. I don't know. But I reached out to the Tibetan Cultural Center because I thought it'd be great to have a guest from there to come on and talk about it because it's one of my favorite places to go to when I'm down in Bloomington. And a lady who was volunteering her time to be the PR person, Lisa Morrison, came on the radio station. We instantly became friends over the air, found out that she had been a morning DJ on WTLC down in Bloomington, and even had a syndicated radio show called Roots Diner. And she said, "I'd love to help you with your radio show." I said, "Great." So Lisa and I would get together often. She'd come up here because she'd do some work up here. I would go down there, and we'd always meet at the Uptown Cafe and have, lunch or whatever and talk about things. There was about a stretch of 3 weeks when I got busy, and I knew she was busy. And then I got the message that she had died in a car wreck in Bloomington. That happened to another friend of mine, Janice Jaffe. Janice and I used to do a lot of workshops together on living and dying, and ironically, she passed away, given the topics that we would do. But here's what I wrote about Lisa. Remembering my friend Lisa Morrison, who passed away on January 24th, 2016. This photo was taken on February 12th. Lisa was serving as senior producer for my radio show. It was at the station, WICR. I was honored by that because years earlier, she had a successful radio career at WTTS and with her syndicated Roots Diner radio show. She lived fully, and she did. She loved well, and she did, and had a servant's heart for all humanity, which she had. Lisa never squandered her life. May we all awaken to the precious mystery of life while we have breath. Death will arrive soon enough. And then I ended it with a Zen night chant, and it goes like this. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly, and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken. Awaken. Do not squander your life. And then I wanted to share this story. True story. Happened on June 16th, year 2000. Every year on June 16th, I have my Celebrate Life Day. because of what happened. And I will always read this section. It came out of a book. And I will always go out in nature because I'm a nature guy. And I'll always bring a drum with me. And maybe I'll bring a little glass of wine in a container. But I'll have a quiet time to just really appreciate the gift of life. And how many of us have maybe had some close calls. Maybe some of you had. If we had time to talk, you could share those. But I remember I did. I had just started hospice maybe 2 years prior. And I was leaving Franklin, Indiana, heading up to come back up to Indy. And it was June 16th. It was a summer day, and we had a nice summer rain coming down. It wasn't a torrential rain, but it was just a nice rain. And it was in the morning. In my car, I had a mini SUV at the time, and I was on 65 heading up north, and my car hydroplaned. Now, I don't know how many of you experienced that when your car goes out of control. I mean, my heart was beating out of my chest. All of this happened in seconds of time, by the way. So my car is going out of control, and I'm finding myself in the middle of the 2 lanes of 65 heading north. The rain's coming down, and every time my car turned south, I saw a semi-truck and 3 cars coming up at me. I couldn't get control of the car. I remember taking my hands off the wheel, and I said to myself, either quietly or screamed it, I don't remember, I could die now. And next thing I know, my car's off on the side of the road facing north. I'm hearing squeals and brakes. The truck couldn't stop. It just zoomed on past. There was, I think, 2 cars behind me, windshield wipers just like mine. They were probably hyperventilating just like I was. And I needed like minutes to just, my God, what happened? So I kind of rolled the window down and did one of these things like, yeah, I'm okay. And I drove on the slow side, 40 miles an hour to the Greenwood exit where I was living at the time. Went back to my place, and I sat down, and the rain's still coming down, and I broke down. And then I got angry. I remember saying, God, you brought me this close to death and you didn't take me? You mean I'm going to have to go through this again? I was having this what for a conversation with God. I'm drenched in my clothes. I had my nicer clothes on that day, back in the day when I didn't wear jeans and things like that. And it was still raining outside, and so I just stopped. And I just caught my breath, and I said, I need to learn from this. So all of a sudden I said, well, Richard, when you were a little boy, you used to love to walk in the rain. You don't walk in the rain anymore. So without changing my clothes, I lived in the Valley Vista area in Greenwood. I walked in that rain for 45 minutes. And I had, before that movie came out, a Shawshank Redemption moment. One of these things. I wanted to feel every drop on my skin, baby. And my clothes were drenched. And I came back, and I started to get this rush a little bit, like, what more, what more? And I started to get cold. And then I remembered a friend. I just moved into this place, and a friend gifted me. It's kind of a gag gift, but not really, because I loved her music. The Best of Donna Summer CD. So I took a long, hot shower, still reflecting, like, all this just happened. It's just happened. What? It's just very surreal. And then I put Donna Summer on. And then I started dancing naked to Donna Summer. And I just felt very bohemian and set free. And then I sat down again. And then I felt like I needed to have communion. And then I remembered I had a half bottle of Merlot wine on the counter and this delicious gourmet chocolate chip cookie that I got at Marsh Grocery Store. That dates the story. So I got it and I sat down, had the chocolate chip cookie, and I had the Merlot wine. And I said a little more peacefully, what now? What now? And I looked at the bookshelf. Some of you have had this experience. I've only had it twice. This is the first time. And there was a book on the shelf. It's like it was glowing. And I bought it, being a bookaholic, had to have it. How Then Shall We Live? 4 Questions to Reveal Beauty and Meaning in Your Life by Wayne Muller. So I hadn't read it yet. I pulled it off the shelf. I thumbed. You ever do that? You thumb and read what opens? This is what opened. And this is about the 5th copy I've had because I have this with me at all times. This is the page I took. The book is 4 questions. I happen to open up, get this, I happen to open up the chapter, how then shall we live knowing we will die? And this is the page I opened up with. And these are Wayne Muller's words. He said, with so little time left, there is none to waste. Suddenly, childhood trauma seems less compelling. Money seems useful for daily needs, but greed seems silly. What can we really keep? Unproductive relationships are let go, and intricate career maneuverings seem wasteful, even comical. For those close to death, it becomes instantly clear that everything they do in their remaining days is precious. Every conversation, every action, every choice is pregnant with meaning and value. Only those relationships that are fruitful and loving are kept. The rest are allowed to fall away. Every act is a sacrament. Every breath is a gift. Nothing is taken for granted. Nothing wasted. Now, what kind of life will we have? A human birth is a breathtaking gift. This singular life is a pearl of great price. How will we use this precious time? Sloppily careening from one day to the next, getting things done, checking off lists, buttressing our lives against trouble as best we can until we die weary and wondering whether we were ever awake, ever truly alive at all? Or shall we live not by accident, but on purpose, naming clearly and courageously those things we cherish, creating a life of beauty and love? Will we walk on the earth gently? Will we care for our children with understanding and wisdom? Will we seek out beauty and give thanks for it? Will we be generous with our talents for the good of all? Will we be patient and thoughtful with others? Will we be courageous in speaking what we know to be true? Will we be awake and alive? Will we leave a legacy of kindness? Knowing we will die, how shall we live? And that page has probably guided my life ever since then. And I think that's a question we ought to be asking, even playfully, lightly, every day. Knowing that I will die, how do I want to live? And when we do that, even with all the troubles and things going on in our world, somehow we can find that middle ground where we can still learn to just walk lightly on the earth and show up big for everyone that crosses our path. That's my message, and blessed be. Thank you.
Gosh, there was a bunch to relate to there. I remember Richard talking about Philip Gully, and that's the only Quaker meeting that I've been to, is that renegade Phil. Anyway, there's a lot to relate to there. Share with you an old James Taylor song called Secret of Life. Secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Any fool can do it. There ain't nothing to it. Nobody knows how we got to the top of the hill. But since we're on our way down, we might as well enjoy the ride. The secret of just in opening up your heart. It's okay to feel afraid, but don't let that stand in your way. 'Cause anyone knows that love is the only road. Since we're only here for a while, might as well show some style. Give us a smile, isn't it a lovely ride? See me sliding down, guiding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. The thing about time is that time isn't really real. It's just your point of view. How does it feel for you? Einstein said he could never understand it all. Planets spinning through space, the smile upon your face. Welcome to the human race. Isn't it a lovely ride? I'll be sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Isn't it a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. There you go. Thank you.
Every month, UUI gives half of the Sunday collection to a cause chosen by our Social Justice Committee. For May's Share the Plate offering, we are supporting Food Not Bombs Indianapolis, a local organization dedicated to addressing homelessness, hunger, and poverty. Through their volunteer-driven efforts, they provide free meals and groceries to those in need. Their mission is to inspire community participation in solving societal issues like hunger, homelessness, and war, while promoting peace and environmental sustainability. To learn more or to get involved, visit their Facebook group, Food Not Bombs Indianapolis. To give using your smartphone, text the dollar amount and the word share to the phone number in the chat and bulletin, or visit uui.org. Here in the sanctuary, ushers will come around to collect donations. The offering will now be gratefully received. May it be joyfully given. Thank you for your generosity. Our closing words today are from the Tao Te Ching. The master gives herself up to whatever the moment brings. She knows that she is going to die and has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in her mind, no resistances in her body. She doesn't think about her actions. They flow from the core of her being. She holds nothing back from life. Therefore, she is ready for death, as a person is ready for sleep after a good day's work.
Please rise in body or in spirit as we join in singing together hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Please join me in our chalice extinguishing words on the screen and also printed in your order of service. Now we extinguish the flame of our chalice, but not the light of understanding, the warmth of compassion, or the fire of commitment. Let us keep those with us until we meet again. Go in peace.